Last but certainly not least, we'll talk about Virginia here on today's show. Their 2023 football schedule has dropped, and we just want to be sure that they can pull out some wins. Can they compete in the ACC with no divisions? We'll talk about all of that. How do they rebound after a really tough year last season? All of that on today's show.
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of Locked On ACC. I'm your host, Candace Cooper, joined by Kenton Gibbs of Locked On Wolfpack. Each and every day, you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. We always appreciate a download and a subscription to our YouTube channel if you want to see our lovely faces or if you just want to listen to audio space. Either way it goes, we are here to say thank you. As we celebrate July 4th, we've got a very high-flying, sparkly, maybe a little bit of fireworks action here on today's show, talking about the Virginia Cavaliers and their 2023 football schedule led by Coach Tony Elliott. It was a very hard year last season, looking to put that behind them and, of course, focus on all things football moving forward. It'll be tough. The season's not going to be, one where maybe a lot of W's are seen, but maybe some progress. How are you feeling about it so far, Kitten?
I'm not optimistic. This is going to be a really rough season for them. This is going to be a tough time. But we'll get into why in just a second, because I'm sure that folks are assuming, oh, you didn't do any research. You're just saying Virginia's going to be bad because they're going to be bad. And that's not the case, my friends. There is a compelling case for why they're not going to be good.
I think after last season, you had the tragedy. You try and move forward. Let's just be very clear. It was a tough season for Virginia, either way it goes.
Even before the tragedy, it was rough. It was rough.
Of course, rest in peace to those 3 young men who lost their life to senseless gun violence. But of course, when you look at the grand scheme of what Virginia had to offer, it wasn't much. Brennan Armstrong wasn't the Brennan Armstrong of old. That's a lot of reasons why there's been skepticism towards the NC State season that he'll have. But I think maybe it was just, quarterback. Tony Elliott was supposed to be a quarterback whisperer. He's supposed to find the guys, but Brennan Armstrong maybe just wasn't, you don't see Trevor Lawrence walking through that door, right? You don't see Deshaun Watson. You don't see even what was my boy Kelly
Bryant.
You don't see Kelly Bryant walking through that door. And maybe Tony Elliott wasn't as good as we thought he was, but clearly he wanted to go try and fly on his own and be a head coach. I think being a head coach is probably one of the hardest jobs in athletics because I think it's a lot more pomp and circumstance than people think. It's less about the X's and O's and more about the kisses of the babies, in my opinion. So I think it's just like a big undertaking, especially at a place like Virginia, where it's not necessarily this football powerhouse, and yet they still have a lot of expectations about where they want their program to be. So to say Tony Elliott has a lot of pressure here in year 2 would be putting it nicely.
Yeah, I don't think that there's a ton of pressure, only because, people kind of know, right? Like
kind of know what, Ken? Yeah, say it plain. Kind of know what?
They kind of know that this team is going to be atrocious. They kind of know that. They're kind of aware of that.
That's crazy that you're jumping out the frame like this.
If you're an athletic director and you're looking at this team to be good, I would ask why. Based on what information are you looking at this assemblage of players and coaches and saying, hey, there's pressure on you to succeed right now?
I wouldn't say pressure to succeed. I would say definite pressure to be better than what we saw last season. If you are coming from a national championship caliber program and you are now the head coach, we are hoping and praying that you bring some sort of semblance to our program, and that's why we hired you.
That's interesting.
But it's not. Would you not assume as the AD, if I'm doing the hiring, that's why you brought them here?
Sure, but this is these
just
are
saying that ain't this.
Not only that, these are extraordinary circumstances. Like one thing.
In what way?
And I'd hate to keep bringing this up, but the tragedy that happened, the team is taking the model of which Tony Elliott has said himself publicly multiple times. We're not moving on, we're moving forward. Okay. And in moving forward through that, we're not just talking about the emotional ramifications of that. We're looking at the fact that some of those young men who lost their lives were impact players for this team. Like we're not looking at, a bunch of scrubs who were never going to have an impact one way or the other. It didn't matter. You're talking about one of the receivers who was a freak of nature in Mr. Davis, and to lose him and your other top 3 receivers and your starting quarterback, and somehow we're going to figure out of that, oh, we're all right. We'll be good. Well, what information is telling you that?
So this is just a get through it season already before we even get to the schedule, because people are like, dang, well, what is it going to be ugly like that? And it's giving that to me. It's what you're telling me.
It's going to be ugly to the point where if it was your partner and you brought them to the cookout, you wouldn't hear one single, I see your nephew, or okay, niece, all right now. Everybody would just be like, I'm sure they have a great personality. That's how ugly it's getting. It's getting, somebody going to pull you to the side. Do they got money? Do they got a lot of money? Why you bring them? Oh,
beautiful gowns.
If you like it, I love it.
Yeah.
Somebody in the family going to say, if you like it, I love it. And you know exactly what that means.
All right. Well, I mean, we might as well dive in, right? You're making me nervous. You're making me stressed, but we might as well go ahead and dive into it.
There's nothing to be nervous about here. It's like when people say I'm shaking I'm shaking like a stripper on Judgment Day. Like, there's nothing to be nervous about. Like, what's going on here.
What is going on, Ken? Finish the thought. Because
you know what's happening. You know what's happening there. You know
what is happening for a stripper on Judgment? Please let us know.
Well, okay, let's, I mean,
you can't make the analogy and not have to explain.
Well, I don't want to have to. I mean, I feel like our listeners are adult enough to put 2 and 2 together and figure out what's going on there.
For someone, okay, I'm not even gonna go down that.
And listen,
I'm not even gonna. Nope, don't. Oh, we talking. Nope, I'm not even going down that rabbit hole with you. Okay. I can't even get it out without cackling. So let's just not go down the rabbit hole.
All right, let's not do it.
Let's get into the opener, because
all I'm saying is, if I was in Chippendales, I would not be nervous on that day. I would. Hey, you know what I mean?
With your gasoline draws. Okay, I got you. Listen.
You know what I mean? Hey, listen, even now, I'm probably not going to be nervous, but we're not going to go there.
Please, September 2nd. I know who needs to be nervous. Virginia better be nervous, as they have to play Tennessee at Tennessee. Okay?
Why does Tennessee love whooping on our orange-colored teams in the ACC so much? Is Tennessee do they think that they're eliminating all the other Tennessee variants out there, and if they beat on all of them bad enough that everybody gets rid of orange?
I'm trying to say.
This game ain't gonna be fair. They're gonna make Joe Milton look like a superstar.
The wheels. They're gonna whoop the wheels off of them. Why would you want this to be your first game out of the game? Like, we talk about certain programs wanting to go out there and make a name for themselves. Clemson, Duke, right? You got teams like Louisville, and our guys talked about yesterday, Georgia Tech. Everyone wants to fill out the gate. North Carolina, South Carolina. You're coming up against a strong opponent. Virginia, this is all right. This is beyond put up or shut up. This is just stressful.
I don't think it'll be too much stress. You know what I mean? This is going to be one of those. Have you ever played a team sport where you knew that y'all were outclassed and your coach came and said, "Hey, don't worry about the scoreboard. Don't worry about the score. Worry about executing on your task on each play.
Sure.
As long as we do that, we'll be fine. Don't look at the scoreboard. Don't look at the scoreboard. They'll score some. We'll score some. Don't look at the scoreboard. Just focus on your task each play." That's what Elliott's speech got to be here, because this is, brother.
Okay, Joe Milton versus who?
Either. Now listen, let's
go quarterback for quarterback.
These are two immaculate names, by the way. Either Jay Wolford, who played on the UVA baseball team that went pretty deep into the NCAA tournament, or and check this name out, Tony Muskett.
Okay. Muskett versus Milton. It's giving that. It's giving Muskett versus Milton.
Tony Muskett. The young man transferred in from Monmouth. He's expected to compete for the starting position with Woolfolk. And I think that he had a little bit of an advantage going into spring ball, because obviously one of them is expected to play a whole nother sport, a sport that your school is good at. So you're going to need to split time and focus in your energy over there. And so you got to kind of do both. But I think it'll be interesting to see how this quarterback battle plays out.
Virginia fans are going to hate us after this episode. I just feel it. All right, September 9th. Well, they'll be at home against James Madison. And normally you say, all right, James Madison versus Virginia. You got a little in-state rivalry. It could be a gimme to Virginia, but it ain't going to be a gimme to Virginia.
We thought that ODU was a gimme for Virginia Tech last year, didn't we?
No, we did not. But yes, I hear what you're saying.
James Madison burst on the scene with 8 wins in their first year in FBS and beat Coastal Carolina, who was ranked in the top 25 last year. Virginia, watch out. This is not a sleep game. This is not a game that you can waltz on through. I think Virginia pulls out a close one because of what happened to Virginia Tech last year. But don't sleep.
I would have hoped Virginia don't sleep on not nary opponent. Not good, good and well. They better be eyes wide open this entire season.
Okay, all right.
They might. I will hot take enough to say they are potentially the underdog in every single game, but one.
Well. I'll tell you that. What did Childish Gambino say? Stay woke. Stay woke.
Him, but I get you.
They gotta stay woke because like you said, they don't have the horses in the stable to sleep through any of these games and say, "Oh, we'll still win."
1,000%. Let's pay some bills here right quick before we get into the rest of this September matchup. But first, want to remind you guys about our friends at FanDuel. We know that baseball, we talk about Will Fulk potentially being starting quarterback for the Cavaliers this season after a really strong baseball year. If you take your first swing at betting an MLB on FanDuel, and you can get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. Just $20 and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. There's no better place to bet on MLB FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So sign up today and visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel is official partner of Major League Baseball. Kenton Gibbs helping us through what should be a very exciting September for Virginia, okay? On September 16th, we got a familiar friend playing Maryland at Maryland, good old College Park. Feel like Maryland is a stronger team, but I hate to see the Locksley versus Elliott battle. However, one must come out on top, and I do think it's going to be the Terrapins.
So here's the only hope that Maryland has in this game, okay? That Virginia has in this game. I'm sorry. Okay. Because against James Madison, there are multiple ways they can win that game. Legitimately, there's multiple ways they can win that game.
Sure.
Against Maryland, they're going to need monster. And I don't mean you need to play all right. They need monster performances from that front seven that's bringing back a lot of guys, particularly Chico Bennett Jr. and Cam Butler. Those two need to have a massive impact on this game because when the little Tagovailoa is uncomfortable back there, you can make some good things happen against that offense. Yes, Maryland can run the ball a little bit, but I'm just telling you, if you make that young man have to, get rid of the ball quickly and make decisions and process quickly, you're going to have a good day. You're going to have a very good day. So if those two show up in a major way in this game, we could see Virginia pull off the upset. But with that being said, even if those two show up offensively, you've got to give something. And so by this third game, be it Musket, be it Woolfolk, whoever they got, you got to figure out something. Something has to shake here.
1,000%. They also have Antoine Littleton in that backfield for Maryland, so that defensive front is going to have to be pretty solid. I think that Virginia will put up a fighting chance, but right now I'm going to give them 1 and 2 to start the season.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Going to September 22nd, they'll face off against NC State. It'll be a great go, be a hard fight. Don't see them coming out on top with this one, even though it's at home.
You got to hate it to see your guy who was your former starting quarterback come through with the new team. That's just some nasty work.
Absolutely.
That's like your old lady bringing the new guy to y'all favorite restaurant. Like, yeah, you put me on to the restaurant, but you're not supposed to be here with him. I'm
Now,
just
do you
here
think
trying to enjoy a sushi roll, and this is what you're doing.
Yeah. Do you think Brennan is going to have a lights out game by this point? Or do you think that Virginia's defense is going to say, listen, new territories, same way we've got to block you. And unfortunately, you're on the opposite side this time and we really can go hard at you.
I mean, I think that the only problem in this situation is it's a strength matching a strength. NC State is returning a lot in terms of offensive linemen, Anthony Belton and Dylan McMahon. Those two have played a lot of football together, or not together. They played a lot of football combined, and they're both seen as guys who could potentially raise their draft stocks through the roof this year. And so if that offensive line led by those two has a good game here, the Virginia fans, luckily they have a short drive home because it ain't going to be a pleasant one.
1,000% agree. I think that it'll be a good welcome back game for Brennan Armstrong. I don't necessarily think that he's going to have this high flying, you should have never let me go type of energy, but I do ultimately feel like the Pack are going to come out with the win. Now, you travel up to Chestnut Hill on September 30th to end your September schedule. You play Boston College, two teams that everything is up in the air for them. You got to help the conference be better by putting up a powerful performance. Who you got in this one? In
the words of NBA Youngboy, I said I need it. I need it. Okay? And this is going to be as much of a must-win game as either one of these teams will see this year.
Yeah.
And let me tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
This may be one of these teams' only conference win.
Not only that, I will argue that this is a job-saving victory for me, one or the other.
And here's the other part about it. Like you said, the job security about it. I think Elliott has another year as long as they're not like abysmal. Like every game is like, oh yeah, they're out of here by the second quarter.
Yeah.
Hafley, on the other hand,
cannot lose to Virginia.
Brother, you were fighting for your life.
Cannot lose to Virginia.
You are swinging and scrapping and clawing for everything you got. And with that being said,
it can't even be close. I ain't gonna hold you.
Oh, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be close. And
it shouldn't be. That's what I'm telling you.
I think Virginia loses a close game here. I think they lose a close one.
It's battle of the bads. The only reason why I give the nod to Boston College is because it's at home.
And I mean, I don't think that this is enough to save Hafley's job, but delays the inevitable. Gives him another week to get his LinkedIn together. Don't worry. Jeff, if you need me, I'm a recruiter. I got your Indeed. I got your LinkedIn. I got you. Zip recruiter. You know what I mean? Whatever you need, brother, give me a call.
Help us out. All right. They start October with the home matchup against William and Mary. And I think that this is the second win of the season that they get.
Yeah. Is that their homecoming too? That should be their homecoming. They should make that their homecoming.
Homecoming in October, that early in October.
I mean,
some people do, but I hope that wouldn't be.
Listen, if I was them, I would.
They're probably going to save it for Georgia Tech, but
who wants to lose their homecoming?
You never want to lose your homecoming, but you got to play the teams in the ACC, and you thought you would be a better ACC program than you are. So what you going to do?
Well, I think that they get a win against William and Mary. I think that they pull off the win here. You can't lose to an Ivy League school. You can't do that.
William and Mary is not an Ivy League school.
William and Mary is an Ivy League?
What the hell are you talking about?
I could have sworn. Hold on. I'm not crazy.
Sir. Very crazy. I cannot believe you just said that. No, they're not. No way. No way on God's green earth. William and Mary's in Virginia.
William and Mary is one of the only 8 universities designated as a public Ivy.
Mm-hmm.
What?
It's not an Ivy League school.
Oh, okay. So it's not actual Ivy, but it's like fake Ivy. I'm sorry.
I mean, hell, Virginia is a fake Ivy. North Carolina can be viewed as a fake Ivy.
All right, let's not gas it. I'm
being honest.
Let's not gas it.
I'm being honest. When it comes to engineering, NC State could be viewed as an Ivy. There's cases for all of us here.
That's not.
I'm just
not the same. Not
okay.
The same.
You're the one. Harvard, William and Mary.
Listen, I was wrong. I misspoke. You still can't lose to that school.
All right. Well,
Ivy, no Ivy, don't matter. The AKA is Ivy, don't matter. Don't matter.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't put us in this just because don't put us in this just because you feel it's spicy. Don't put us in this.
All Poison Ivy, don't matter. You can't lose this game. You understand?
Heard you.
All
They got
right.
a bye
Jaden
week.
Ivy, Miss Ivy, no.
All right. They have it open on October 14th to give themselves an opportunity to recoup, gather things, get themselves together because they have a big one against North Carolina in Chapel Hill on October 21st. We know that during the Halloween time, sometimes North Carolina Virginia games can get a little spicy, but to me, this is a no-brainer that is going to the Tar Heels.
They need to make it spicy. They need to throw the Saison. They need to throw the smoked paprika, the regular paprika, some crushed chili peppers. Because, I mean, if this game ain't spicy, we all know the direction that it's going to go.
This
so,
man cooked for 2 days. Now he over here chefing it up with all the spices. That's crazy.
Wow.
That's crazy.
But no, I agree. I don't think that this game is going to see much of a spice factor. I think it's going to be as spicy as orange sauce. This is not going to be a game that's going to be much competition whatsoever for UNC.
It's definitely giving duck sauce spice. All right, October 28th at Miami. Now, Miami, the fact that if you even were to make this close, I'm going to have to tell you, come over here. Let me talk to you. Because what?
If this is inside a 10-point game, I might lose all faith in Mario. Unless Virginia has shocked the world and proven us all wrong this year, if this is within 10 points, Mario, we got to have a talk.
If Virginia makes this close, if Virginia even is the dark horse that we don't see coming, we might need to consider what we're doing. Like, I'm very serious.
Here's the thing. Virginia has certain pieces in place that it's feasible.
No, sir.
That hear me out. It's feasible. It's feasible to say, like, is there a universe where they shock the world? It's possible for a lot of reasons. Number one, when you're bringing in a new quarterback, you don't know what you have. You don't know. What if Jay Woolfolk really turns out to be the baddest thing walking?
He would be a great one. Who is there to catch the ball? And who is there to block? Who is there to defend? Come on.
But again, their defense is not as bad as their offense is. Their defense is nowhere near as bad.
Walking through that door.
I understand, but they dropped an entire touchdown in terms of points allowed per game from the year before Elliott and crew got there to last year. I'm not saying that defense is a world beater, but I'm saying they're bringing back their entire front. Their safety position, they are loaded in terms of I'm not saying loaded as in very talented, but they have a lot of guys who have played meaningful football at the safety position. Now, of course, you're losing one of the best corners in the game. No doubt about it. Okay, absolutely. But this is a team that defensively they're bringing back enough to where if their offense can carry water, it's possible. I'm not saying I see it. You
are the king of talking yourself in and out of takes. You are the king of talking yourself in and out of takes. Is it Uchivali or one damn mic? Either Virginia's gonna stink or there's a world where they can be great.
If the Martians have the deadbeat point of earth, if the Martians have the deadbeat point of earth, of course they're gonna stink. Of course that's my bad. Right. If you ask me, Kenton, what do you believe? What do you believe this chance's odds of stinking are? I would say like 90-95%. But there's still that 5 to 10 that, like, again, they come out and shock the world. That's why I didn't say, there's a chance they have a better season than people think. Georgia Tech, I said it's a chance they have a better season than people think. Virginia, I'm legitimately saying shock the world because the world would be, flabbergasted, blown away. Clear, charged, shocked. If this team break out the defibrillator, shocked. If this team was to win 6, 7, 8 games.
I hear you. All right, we got to get through this November playlist here for the Virginia Cavaliers, talking about the 2023 football season. Make sure you guys check it out wherever you listen to pods. But first, I want to remind you guys that November is going to be wild for them. Georgia Tech at home. We're talking about this Georgia Tech team that we feel like is going to be great. I don't see it being close. It's an old coastal foe, but it doesn't matter. Georgia Tech by 10, at least.
And the other thing about it is I believe that this Virginia team beat Georgia Tech last year, and what I believe was their last win of the season. I don't think that Coach Key and the boys are going to be happy about that. I don't think that they're going to.
It's lick-back season.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to be, this is just another game. I think that this game holds significance in that last year this was a game where if Virginia Tech had prepared the right way, they would have ran away with it. They didn't. 100%. If Virginia Tech wasn't smelling themselves after 2 wins against teams where they were underdogs of 10 points or more, everything would have been all right. They didn't. So
1,000%. Then they'll be at Louisville on a Thursday night. Louisville tends to do well during these Thursday, Friday night matchups, especially at home. They're probably going to be in all black. I see the vision, you know what I'm saying? And Coach Brom's already at this point in the season feeling good about where the team has taken itself. So I give this one again to the Cardinals.
The Cardinals better win this game. The way that everybody talk about Jeff Brown, you give Louisville no respect. Well, you better show up. This is a game where the wheels need to be off the bus. How bad you whoop these boys.
You better dog walk.
Hello? Get the leash out. Get the leash out.
Good night. All right. Then they face off against the Blue Devils on November 18th. Blue Devils, Duke, obviously. Duh, I'm pretty. So I think that Duke, because of how high I am on the Blue Devils, are going to take this one. But you just never know against a little bit of battle of the nerd action.
I think that, regardless of who comes out as the starting quarterback for that team, I think Riley Leonard is going to be the best offensive player on the field for either team, maybe with the exception of Barton at left tackle. So with that being said, I think that Duke wins I think they win a game where it's probably going to be closer than it should be, but I don't think it's going to be in danger for much of the game for them.
Then we move on to the final game of the season, November 25th, Thanksgiving time, food good, common battle of the Commonwealth, Virginia versus Virginia Tech. Throw the record books out. Look, both teams are going to be struggling, but who just wants it more? I think this is a battle of who wants it more.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean, I'm really and truly looking at both of these defensive lines and saying whoever has the better game is probably going to come away with a win here because that's the strength of both of these teams. Both of these teams, you're looking at their defensive fronts, the buffet busters, as guys who if either one of these teams have any chance throughout the season, have to be wildly impactful. So I think that this game comes down to whose defensive line performs better. And with that being said, I want to give a slight edge to Virginia Tech, but I wouldn't be shocked if UVA pulled off the upset here or put off a win here. I don't even know if it'd be an upset, but put off a win here.
So right now we got two in some toting the lines, 2 wins.
Yeah, I think they can get up to 3, maybe 4. I think they get up to 4. I think that 4 wins for them, honestly, that's a good season. That's a good season.
If they mess around and get 5 to flirt with 6, I would be shocked.
Yeah, if they even winking at 6, if they even get 6 a drink, you know what I mean? Hey, you ain't got to get the digits or nothing. Just get 6 a drink and walk away. You'll be all right. You'll be all right.
1,000%. The keys to me for turning this program around, though, before we wrap up here, is just going to be throwing last season out the window and ensuring that you just have all eyes focused on the right now, right? Every person is going to have to step up in big ways. There are going to be names that we've never heard of jumping out the frame and guys just having world beater type seasons. And that's going to be an essential part for Virginia.
Well, I'm not sure if that's gonna happen in terms of guys who we've never heard of having world beater season. But if that happens, that's that 5 to 10% where they do shock the world. If you have that type of season where guys go from completely unheralded to competing for ACC awards, I mean that's what would be necessary for this team to shock the world, to do good things this year. Because honestly, I think if everything holds serve, I think they for sure are the last place team in this conference. Somebody got to be last. Somebody got to be last.
And that's just the nuts and bolts of it. Even if you share 3 wins, y'all gonna be sharing 3 wins at the bottom.
Yeah, well, and that again,
and that's tough.
Somebody got to be in last. And
100%.
That's just the reality.
1,000%. I hope it ain't them, but it's gonna be somebody. So either way it goes. That is the wrap on our 2023 ACC football schedule. We have a full playlist on YouTube, so make sure you check out all the games. For everyone who's getting ready for kickoff, trying to figure out who's going to be great, who's going to be bad, we're going to have a couple episodes where we just give you some quick hitter facts about the respective programs so you're prepared for the season. August is going to be here before you know it, so make sure you subscribe. Tell all your friends to talk about who want to listen to some ACC football covers. We're right here and ready for you. So for Candace Cooper and Kenton Gibbs, we hope you have a great and safe 4th of July. Until next time.